My name is Abdul Kadir Salami. On today's series of Data Analyst, let's solve the most asked Python interview question and how to go about it. Let's get it done. Welcome to your most asked Python interview question. Today we are going to dive into some of the popular questions being asked in Python, and then we are going to solve them. So let's start with number one. How do you convert a string to an integer in Python? How do you convert a string to an integer in Python? First, you can use the int function to convert a string to an integer. So for example, we have a number. Let's create a variable called number underscore string, and then let's store a string into this variable. So we have 10, okay. And right now, so let's convert it. So our variable is what? Let's create another variable called integer. And then int, which is a function. Then open bracket. Then we put our number underscore string, and then we close it. So now what we did just now is we create a variable and we store our string, which is 10, into that variable. So the next step now, we create another variable, which is an integer, which we are converting our string into. So we create our int function and place the string variable inside the function. So now let's execute it. So to do that, let's say print number underscore, okay, this is it. So as you can see, so that's it. So we have our output, which is 10, which is an integer. So that's how to answer that question. Okay, let's move to the next one. Okay, so let's talk about the next question. How do you check the data type of a variable in Python? How? Okay, you can use the type function to check the data type of a variable. For example, let's create a variable called number. Okay, and let's insert a value, an integer value into it. Let's store it into it. So we have 10. Okay, so we are storing 10 into our number, which is a variable. And the next step, let's use our print function. Print function, then open bracket, and we use our type. Okay, then we open another bracket and insert our variable that has the value called 10 in it. That's it. That's it. So let me explain this, okay? The question is very clear. How do you check the data type of a variable in Python? And like I said, we use type function to do that. Now we have an integer value, which is 10. We store it into a variable called number. Now we are using the print function to bring out the output. Now we are using the type to bring out the variable that has 10, to bring out the data type of the variable that have 10 out. Okay, so now let's print it. So this is it, as you can see. So the data type is integer. That's it. The data type is integer, class integer. So that's how this works. Let's move to the next one. Now the next one is, how do you create an empty dictionary in Python? How do you create an empty dictionary in Python? Okay, you can create an empty dictionary using either the curly brace or the dig function. For example, let's do this. Let's create a variable again, empty underscore dict. Okay, and so let's use the curly brace. Okay, in it. Okay, and then let's create another variable. So that's it. So like I said, you can use the curly brace or you can use the dict function, either of the two. So this is how you create an empty dictionary in Python. So to print it out, let's just use print. Okay, so let's have it. So this is it, as you can see. So this is how you create an empty dictionary in Python. Let's talk about the next one. How do you concatenate two strings in Python? How do you concatenate two strings in Python? You can concatenate two strings using the plus operator. Yes, you can concatenate two strings using the plus operator. Yeah, for example, let's use our string 1. Okay, let's create a string into this variable. Let me just call it hi. Okay, and then let's create another variable called string 2, and let's create a string called people. Okay, so what next? Now let me use results. So this will give me the two string together, so which is string 1 plus string 2. Okay, so now to see the output, let's use our print function. So it's going to be print results. So now let's execute it. So this is it. Hi people. Hi people. So that's it. Okay, let's move to the next one. How do you find the length of a string in Python? You can use the length function to find the length of a string in Python. Okay, for example, let me create a string into a variable. String 1 is a variable, and let me store hi people. Okay, hi people. Okay, let me store it into my variable called string 1. Now let's look at the length. So I'm creating another variable called length. Okay, so I'm using my length function now. Length function, then what do I want to search the length for? That's my string 1. So I have to place it inside the bracket that comes with the length function. So that's it. Let me explain this. So we have a variable called string 1, and then we store our string into it. And I decided to create a variable called length so I can apply my length function into the variable called string 1. So this length function will do the job by searching for the number of character in my string, which is hi people, So now let's print it out. Print length. Okay, so let's execute it. Okay, so that is it. We have 9. Please kindly subscribe, like, and share for more of our videos. Thank you. Okay, let's move to the next question. How do you convert a string to uppercase in Python? Okay, so let's do that. First, you can use the upper method to convert a string to uppercase. For example, let's create a variable called string1. Okay, hi. Okay, now let's create another variable called capital later, and then let's put our string dot upper. That's our string1 dot upper. So that's it. So this is how. So this is how you convert a string to uppercase. First, you create a variable and you save your string into your variable. Like I have here, I have hi as my string, and it's been saved into my variable called string1. So I also created another variable called capital letter. So here I'm going to bring in my variable which carries the string called hi, then apply, which is the dot, then the upper method. So now let's execute it. So we use our print capital letter. So that's it. So let's execute it. So as you can see, that's it. We have it here. So that's it, hi. So that's how you convert a string to uppercase. Let's move to the next one. How do you split a string into a list of substring in Python? You can use the split method to split a string into a list of substring based on a delimiter. For example, let me create a variable called string1. Okay, and let me create a string called hi people. Okay, and now where's my substring? Okay, so my string1 dot splits. So that's it. So now let's print it out. So print substring. Okay, so now let's execute it. Perfect. So what I did now, right now I have my variable here called string1, and I have my hi people stored in it, and then I have my substring where I call in action my string1 dot split method. So the split method here will do the delimiter of the string, and then right now I print it out. So what I have here is hi people. Okay, let's move to the next one. How do you check if a string contains a specific substring in Python? How do you check? Okay, you can use the in keyword to check if a substring is present in a string. For example, let me start with my string1. Let me create a variable string1. So let me save my string into my variable called hi people. Okay, so that's it. And now Let me create another variable, check in. Okay, check in if is there. So let me use people in string 1. So what this does is that I have a variable called string1 and I save my string into it. So I have another variable used to check in if people is found in my string 1. Okay, if people is found in my string 1, so I have to, let's print it out, print check underscore in. Okay, so we have it here true. So we have it here true. So in summary, what this does, we use the in keyword to check if a substring is present in a string. So we use the in keyword to check if people is present in my variable called variable 1, and I have a string in it called hi people. So I'm using that in keyword to check if a substring, which is people, is present in my string, which is hi people. Okay, I want you guys to get this right, okay? Now, my substring is people. I'm using the in keyword to check if my substring, which is the people, is found or is in my string, which is the hi people. So is it true or false? So right now is true. What is OOPS and how is it implemented in Python? Object-oriented programming is a programming paradigm that uses objects to represent real-world entities. In Python, OOPS is implemented through classes and objects. Classes are blueprints for creating objects, and objects are instances of a class. So that's what OOPS is. So let's move to the next question. What are control statements in Python? Okay, control statements are used to control the flow of execution in a program. Common control statements in Python include if-else, for loops, while loops, and break continue statements. Please kindly subscribe, like, and share for more videos. Thank you.